Welcome back to The Ed Show. Death panels are not a part of any of the health care reform bills in Congress that are being considered. Keep that in mind. But I think they already exist in the private insurance industries. Insurers routinely deny coverage to policyholders, which effectively kills patients who can't afford treatment. The liberal group, Americans United for Change, highlights this atrocity in a new ad.
Their lies about phony death panels have all been proven false. Unfortunately, there are real death panels in America.
In the spring of 1987, as a physician, I denied a man a necessary operation that would have saved his life and thus caused his death. And I'm haunted by the thousands of pieces of paper in which I have written that deadly word, denied.
We need health insurance reform now.
My next guest has firsthand experience with this. Syndicated columnist Froma Harrop, who normally doesn't write about her personal life, but on this issue, in the heat of the battle, did write a column several weeks ago about this. And you're so brave for doing it. I appreciate you sharing her story with us tonight.
That's kind of you. Thanks.
Well, What happened? Your husband got liver cancer, and you had insurance. What happened?
Well, the HMO policy said that we had to go to a doctor within the network, but that if we needed care outside of the network, it would cover it. Well, we went to the liver expert in the network, and he said, there's only one place for you to go, and that's Deaconess Hospital in Boston. And we thought, well, hey, that's good news. It's only 40 minutes up the road from us. But the insurance company wouldn't let us go to Deaconess. They wanted us to go to to a small local hospital that was totally unequipped to deal with this kind of cancer.
So they denied the claim, not paying the coverage, and kept sending you letters to the point where you always had the possibility of hope that maybe they would cover it.
Well, they had a very phony appeals process, and we kept on getting these one-sentence letters saying that they're turning us down. But if you call this number, we'll reconsider. And we'd call and we'd talk to some insurance company handler, and he would always tell us, well, yeah, we have new information here. Let's see what we can do for you. And then we'd get another letter, and it was just around and around. And after a while, I began thinking he was trying to, run out the clock on my husband's life.
And is that what happened?
Well, it's these cancer treatments, they help some people and not others. We eventually said the heck with it, and we just took ourselves to Deaconess Hospital, and he got the treatment. And I always wonder whether that delay in fighting with the insurance company made the outcome less positive.
And did a doctor say that maybe you should mortgage your home?
Yes. In fact, the insurance company wouldn't talk to the doctor. And this was the doctor, the liver expert within their own network, and he was a very good man. And one time when we were leaving his office, he whispered to us, mortgage your house.
So there was insurance. It wasn't enough. It didn't cover what you thought it would. Yeah. There was a delay process. There was poor communication between the doctor and the patient and the insurance company. Yeah. And they ran the clock out on your husband, and he passed away.
Well, we got the treatment, but it was after a delay, and this, and this time is precious when you're dealing with a cancer like this.
How big of an issue is this with you? I mean, it took courage to write this.
Well, it's enormous. When it happened is when I began writing about healthcare, and it was a revelation. I never thought twice about, I never thought much about health care. And in fact, I always thought my coverage was good because, if we had to go for a checkup, get a flu shot, the insurer paid for it. But the proof of the pudding in insurance is whether they're going to come out and pay for an expensive chemo treatment. And I wrote this column after reading, the crazy commentary about government-run death panels are going to deny you life-saving chemotherapy. And I was thinking, to quote Barney Frank, what planet are they spending most of their time on?
Yeah. Froma Harrop, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I've had a lot of listeners on my radio show say you've got to get Froma on to tell this story and to tell more stories. There's thousands, millions of them out there across America. We've got to fix this. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Like most Americans, I always took health insurance and health care for granted. And I, like most Americans, failed to understand the vast complexities of U.S. healthcare delivery and financing. I've been insured for as long as I can remember. I'm what you would consider white-collar middle class. My son was born in 2003, Thomas. He was diagnosed at birth with severe hemophilia, a genetic blood clotting disorder requiring a lifetime of medication to manage and prevent death or serious disability. Thomas was special, but because of this, he became what I consider a canary in the coal mine of healthcare. When Thomas was a year old and after approximately 6 months of expensive treatments and medications, our company went to renew their insurance and were shocked to find out that premiums were going to be unaffordable for the company. Because of the previous claims and because we fell into the large group insurance category, no other insurance company would touch us. It's not only been a burden for myself, but with what my coworkers have had to deal with increased premiums, increased deductibles, increased out-of-pocket expenses. Coworkers are now rationing their own care. If they get sick, instead of paying out of pocket to go to the doctor, they wait and see if it'll clear up on its own. Our premiums still went up almost 20%. And the only reason they didn't go up higher was that they introduced $1 million lifetime cap. In 2005 and 2006, the cost for the care for my son was $750,000 a year. Changes like these that the insurance company uses to weed out the chronically ill so that they can cover the most healthy people and make the most profits. We are about a month or two away from hitting the cap because no company wants to endure $1 million liability. Medicare and Medicaid have also been options we've looked into, but I make too much money. Social workers have even suggested, in exploring all of our options, a paper divorce, because if my wife with no income and children would make it easier to get on Medicaid. With nearly a third of healthcare dollars going to administration expenses and insurance company profits, current plans on the table, except for H.R. 676, don't address the real problems. They don't work for individuals or employers, the chronically ill, the working poor, the middle class, small business, or the rest of America. My employer's premiums have skyrocketed since Thomas was born. The only private coverage available to our company today has a $1 million cap, which Thomas will exceed in a few months. The only health proposal that doesn't bankrupt families unfortunate enough to face serious illness is a single-payer national health plan.
There's been lots of talk about dropping the public option and not extending to all Americans the health care plan enjoyed by seniors, veterans, and members of Congress. As such, we'd like to walk you through a world with no public options. First, you wake up to the sound of someone robbing your house. You call 911, but you don't have police insurance, so they don't come. You start your car to go to work, but it bursts into flame. The fire department comes to put it out, but you can't make the copay, so burn, baby, burn. Now you walk to work, which saves you money because all the highways are toll roads. Not that you could afford the fees anyway. At the office, you're sued for sexual harassment, but when it goes to trial, the plaintiff outbids you in the private courts, and you lose. Soon, a private corporation buys control of the atmosphere and charges you for the air you breathe. And since a lack of oxygen in your lungs is a pre-existing condition, you won't qualify for air insurance, and you'll just have to die.
This message brought to you by a random a-hole who wants to make the healthcare debate even more confusing.